Well, look at this place. It's a fantastic place, Bramall Lane. Wonderful stadium. And even better when you come here and win, I would say. Norwich City winning 1-0 thanks to Yanic Wildschut's goal. He got his first start, I think, probably since the Fulham game. Took his goal really neatly, played really well. And we could probably say that for Norwich as well, who have picked up another clean sheet, 1-0 win against a Blade side who were missing a couple of key players in Leon Clark and Billy Sharp and were horribly predictable. But that was probably due as much to Norwich and the way Daniel Farke had them set up. They constantly had three on either flank holding Sheffield United up, and the game wore on. Norwich got tired. It did start to look like United got a bit more space down the flanks and were able to get in behind a little more easily. But ultimately, Norwich really dug in and defended really well. And for all the question marks we've raised about their defending, regardless of their character, that's now 3 clean sheets on the trot. They haven't conceded a goal since Tim Closer came back into the side. And it's noticeable quite clearly and clever from Daniel Farke that he's done that, building on the players who were still around during the international break. If players went at the international break, they weren't involved. It was the players he got to work with for those 2 weeks that are now really playing and showing the part. Marco Stiepermann today really growing into what he's being asked of. James Husband came on and looked settled and did a good job too. And it was a nice nasty shriek from Norwich, maybe streetwise, which is a word we've used against them a couple of times this season. Now, of course, it helps when you go ahead in the first half and you can then protect a lead, and that's a major dynamic. And while we talk about possession as well, Norwich had, again, they've only won games where they've had less possession, but arguably that's because either when they've been behind, teams have let them have the ball, and Norwich have kind of done that to Sheffield United a bit today and tried to counter. And again, there's just this, it's really good because we're seeing Daniel adapt, we're seeing Norwich adapt, we're seeing the shape adapt, and we're seeing them learn and we're seeing them progress, which I suppose is what we've all been wanting to see. And this is a robust place to go. I don't for one moment think Sheffield United were at their best today, but they'd only conceded 1 goal here before this afternoon, and Norwich managed to nick 1 and come away with 3 points. So really good, proactive, positive signs. You can't argue with it. The performance for me is the big thing, because they did really knuckle down. They worked very hard. They always had an outlet with pace. Marley Watkins came on in the second half and kind of backed that up too. Cameron Jerome had worked hard. Probably wasn't the quality there, and clearly to a degree they missed Nelson Oliveira. But generally, from the setup and how City looked, this was cohesive, which I think is the best word to use, and clear organisation. They dealt with most set pieces well, and Angus Gunn didn't really have many proper saves to make. A lot of shots from range which were either off target or relatively easy for Angus to deal with. And while a game like this can be quite nerve-wracking, following it and covering it and tweeting about it and watching it and being at home and listening to it, when you start thinking about the actual moments and passages of play and chances, you realise that actually Norwich dealt with what they had thrown at them, and you look at it without the emotional worry, and that's fine. We'll take that. So, all good. And of course, Norwich go to Brentford in the Cup next. Whatever. As much as we love a Cup run, I guess we'll have all eyes on Bristol City back at Carrow Road next weekend before they head to Middlesbrough and then Reading for a difficult couple of games, both probably again without Nelson Oliveira. Just a word on the referee. Pretty awful again, just losing control of the game, and Chris Wilder got sent to the stands for kicking the ball in the Norwich technical area, just there. Quite a hilarious moment. And to be honest, the atmosphere here, great. They really get behind the team, wonderful. But you cannot have fans chucking bottles on the pitch. I hate stuff like that. It's you can be intimidating and vocal. Don't start throwing objects. So not many classy moments from some of the home faithful this afternoon, but there we go. I guess they'll show us how it's all done when they come to Carrow Road later in the season, but we can worry about that later. Norwich City have won here at 1-0. Yanic Wildschut has scored. He played well again. Great to see Yanic back in the side. He's showing what he's got, and we move on.